Shalom, Shalom on the self. So, always begin with praise the Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kadash, the blood and apostle, great millstone, and honesty, brothers, doing the work of the most sound truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name within the world, ignorant calls God, Jehovah or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh, and the son's true name is Yahweh Shai. And we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning then, Shai meaning name. So, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh Shai. So, quick one, I was just, just as I was preparing to go to bed. We're just meditating on a utopia, right? You'll see Esau's in Esau's films where it's like a brightly lit day, and everything is bright colors. It's luscious greens, and everything is beautiful, whatever, what have you, right? But will make it seem like those worlds are fictitious, but here it is. The Lord is actually going to bring, that utopia to life, right? But then also on the other hand, when you watch certain programs, like for instance, there was a program, Utopia, which was about eugenics, about genocide, right? Where is basically saying to get in a utopia, you gotta mask a whole load of people, right? Which is why I've got this as the opening precepts. This is Genesis 1 and 28 says, and the Most High, and rather than the powers and the gods blessed them, and the God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. Right, so be fruitful and multiply. Okay, it says, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Right, so Lord, brother, Yahweh through the angels, he commanded, right, that man, you be fruitful and multiply, right, and that's what it's going to be like in the kingdom. So scripture says this is I think it's actually at the end of Isaiah 60, which I'm holding. Yeah, Isaiah 60 and 22 says, and a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. Yahweh will hasten it in his time. So in the kingdom of Israel, right, we gonna be fruitful, man. Right, Israelites, we just gonna be getting it in. We gonna be having children, right? We gonna be not have to fear for them like in this world. You have a child and you fear for your child, right? This is Psalms 127 and 5 says I'm sorry, from verse 3 says, look, children are an heritage of Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Right, so this is saying happy is the man that has a lot of children. Right, in the kingdom, that's going to be the case. But right now, once again, in Esau's world, right, his idea of a utopia, he thinks you can get that, by culling a whole load of people. Now, don't get me wrong. When Yahweh Shai comes, right, there's gonna be a lot of death, right? He says in Isaiah, and the slain of the Lord shall be many, right? But guess what? That's because of their iniquity, right? Those people that perish when the Lord comes back, right? They're perishing because of their sins. But guess what? Right? They shall awake, right? Through the elect that are saved, right? Those that die, the Israelites that die on this side, they shall come back through the elect in the kingdom, okay? And then over over a period of time, things are going to get repopulated, and we just going to continue populating. Why? Because the Israelites are never going to sin, right? They're never going to go off, and therefore never going to die, right? So it says so yeah, that was just the first thing I kind of wanted to get into, right? The differences between our kingdom and E's kingdom, right? Scripture says in Habakkuk 2, in reference to Esau, that his spirit is not upright in him, right? Because only someone that ain't right, would see the children, right, and multiplying as a problem, right? This is Psalm 16 and 11, right? Now going into, the utopia that will be the kingdom of Israel, right? It says, thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Okay, so before we even ask for something in the kingdom, right, the Lord is gonna deliver it, right? But guess what? I'm gonna be pleasures forevermore, right? Living for eternity, but never getting bored, right? Living in a perfect world, not like in this world, because this world is wicked as hell, right? So 2 Peter 3:13, right? It says, nevertheless, we according to its promise look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right, and this is a beautiful, that would be a beautiful time, because when you see what sin does, you're like, nah, this ain't what it's about. Like we've seen in Esau's world, what sin, and gross wickedness, where that leads you, right? And we'll see that when America is destroyed, right? That's why America will never be inhabited again. For it will be a memorial, for the the most wicked place that hath ever been in the history of man, right? And then just as a says Hebrew 13:14 to go with that. Right, so for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Yeah, so that's what we see. We see the kingdom of Israel, right, which will be an everlasting a kingdom, right? This is Isaiah, was it 45:17? Right, it says, but Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end, right? So, so the kingdom of Israel, not kingdom of spiritual Israel, i.e., what these so-called Christians like to say to try and put themselves in. Right? No, this is the kingdom of Israel by the seed. Okay, so that's it on that. So I'll read this again, Psalm 16:11. Thou wilt show me the path of life, in thy presence is fullness of joy. Yeah, when following after the ways of Yahweh, that's where the true joy is, right? What Esau gives and provides, right, has basically given the facade of joy. However, right, his ways are the ways of death, because he pushes what? Sin. And what are the wages of sin? Death. Okay, it says at thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore, and there will need to be pleasures forevermore, because we go and live forevermore, right? I'll save that for the end. This is Proverbs 29:2, right? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, right? Going back into this idea of this utopia, right? When people draw or imagine a utopia, everyone's happy, everyone, it's bliss. Right, that's how we know this place in a utopia. That's how we know that the wicked are bearing rule, because this place here, everyone's strung out on drugs, right? Everyone's hurt. Hey, you might be around someone there speaking a foreign language, and I'm thinking about when we, was coming from the camp last week, right? I had no idea what the people were saying, right? But you could tell, through, right? Okay. But in the kingdom, guess what? People are gonna be rejoicing. People are gonna be like, "Yo, this is what it's like to live, right? Not that crap Esau was feeding us." Okay, and that's why this is gonna be happening in the kingdom. As Isaiah 2, right? And 2 says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain, which represents the government of Yahweh's house, shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills." So the mountains, are the governments, and the hills, smaller governments, right? So then all nations shall flow onto it, right? And many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, right? Because they're going to see that the ways, that we live, right, has, will bring us, great living, right? Because here, no one's living here. Everyone here is surviving. Everyone here is existing, right? But in the kingdom of Israel, Israel, we gonna be living, man, right? And the beautiful thing is, we're gonna be living in righteousness, right? Never going off ever again, right? Meaning we will reap the rewards of that, and people, the other nation, they gonna be looking. They're like, yo, hey, we want to be like that, okay? It says, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And that's, once again, when people think of a utopia, that's what, comes to mind, right? People not killing each other, no war, no this, no that, right? There ain't gonna be war in the kingdom of Israel, because one, we're gonna be, ahead of that, right? The Lord's gonna give us the spirit, to basically, so that no one can fight against us, right? And we're gonna be able to read these different, people's thoughts and minds. Yeah, how I was able to, okay, and when it's and that's a beautiful thing, man. It's unlike in this kingdom where Esau basically, pushes wars for the purpose of making money, right? One Tomahawk missile, right, it ranges from 800,000 US dollars to 1.5 million US dollars, and that's that's an estimate from a few years ago, right? But that's one missile, man, right? You ain't gonna be having none of that in the kingdom of Israel. Just pointless death, just so some devils can get paid. No, that ain't what that you ain't gonna be having any of that in the kingdom, man. Right, so we read all of those. So, two more, then we'll close it out. As Isaiah 60 and 10 says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. Right? So, just like how we have built up the walls of, this kingdom and these different captivities that we've been, well, guess what? It's going to be, the tables are going to be turned, as they say. Right? And the sons of strangers shall build up our walls. We're going to have the spiritual power. We could build it up if we wanted to, but where's the fun in that? Where is the recompense in that? Okay? It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Okay? And so, the trade is going to be, running well in the kingdom of Israel. We're going to be trading with these different nations, right? And guess what? They ain't going to be getting screwed like they get screwed when they deal with Esau, right? Yeah, for 1,000 years they're going to be, paying back for all of the wickedness that they've done to the children of Israel, right? But hey, well, as we read in Proverbs 29 and 2, right? People are gonna start, rejoice, because we ain't gonna be like Esau, right? The world has seen what it's like to live under Esau, right? And they're gonna see the contrast. But we're gonna go do a full 180, living to go from living in hell to living in heaven. Okay. So the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I'll make the place of my feet glorious. Right? It says the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. Right, yeah, and that's our heaven, man. Right, that's the children of Israel's heaven. Right, having these different, heathen nations coming and bowing down unto us. Right, the ones that, it says, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall come, and they shall call thee the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. That's a beautiful thing, right? To have people serve you. Okay. So let me finish here with Revelation 21, right? On this utopia, right? The new heaven, right? It says Revelation 21 from the top says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea, right? So first earth will pass away, this current kingdom, right? The earth itself will never be destroyed, and no more sea, as referencing people. As and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for a husband, right? New Jerusalem, referring to Israel. Israel is the people before it's a place. Second Maccabees 5 and 19. This is out of heaven, right? Coming out of the chariots, right? Because, during this destruction, right, the elect, will go and be beamed up, and, they go and be watching, as this place is destroyed. I believe that's Revelation 15 speaks about on the sea of glass, Verse 3, and I heard a great voice come out of heaven, saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them, and be their God. The Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, right? And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away, right? And this is going to be for the children of Israel only, right? And that, if that don't sound like a utopia, that sounds like a utopia to me, right? They just going to be good. Man, I was, going for a walk, in the morning when I woke up, and I basically saw this, older, not old too old, but an older Jake woman, limping, right? Limping to work, right? Because, there were roadworks, so her bus, but basically went on diversion, so she had to walk, what, one, two, three, basically three buses up quite a steep hill, right? And I was just looking, I was like, man, that's through. And then guess what? She's gonna be walking for the rest of the day, right? I was just like, man, that's through, man. But that's where Jake is at the moment. We through, right? As a whole, as a nation, we through. Okay. But in the kingdom, that's all going, go and get corrected. So then he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are truth and faithful. Right? Let me jump down. Verse 10, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of the Most High, and their light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof, and 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man that is of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. So, like clear gold, right? That's what you gonna be seeing, right? In the kingdom of Israel, right? So, in the foundation of the wall of this city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. Right, the first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardis, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the tenth a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. Right, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every civil gate was one of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. Right. And that's it, man. So that was just giving like a kind of like a description, right, of how it's going to look. But you see in here transparent, gold as if it were transparent glass. That's, all of these different things that Esau likes to take and hoard for himself. All of the gold, all of the silver, right, all of the precious jewels, right? They just going to be there. What does it say about when King Solomon was in rulership? Right, that silver was as stones, man. Right, you see a stone, you just kick it. Basically saying it was just that abundant, right? But I say, that's going to be the real utopia, right? The kingdom of Israel. So, hey, as always, those what I was edifying. Till next time we say, shalom.